Did you know that Wolverine has a son? A boy who doesn't yet know that his real father is Logan. A boy possessing mutant abilities and living in a world filled with hatred towards mutants. You see, in this universe, Magneto used Thor's hammer to alter Earth's magnetic poles, leading to massive tidal waves and extreme weather events that killed thousands of mutants and humans. Wolverine tried to stop him, but he was killed in the battle. After this devastating event, called the Ultimatum, many of the original X-Men were killed, leaving the team disbanded. On top of that, the hatred towards mutants grew so much that various organizations began hunting them down, pushing the world of superheroes into the past. And that's when we see a boy named James Hudson Jr., better known as Jimmy, who's about to find out who he really is. He kisses his girlfriend and decides to race one of his friends.
1, 2, 3!
They take off, but Jimmy quickly loses the control of his car. He crashes, but when his girlfriend runs up to him, she notices that for some reason Jimmy's body is quickly healing himself.
Everyone in the area, stop where you are!
Jimmy, you need
Get
help!
down on the ground!
Run, Red! The cops!
How can you do that? What are you? Are you one of them?
No, I'm not!
You are one of them. And I was going to let you...
Listen to me.
Gross.
I'm not one of them.
A helicopter arrives, and that's when we see Sheriff James Hudson, Jimmy's father. Jimmy starts asking his dad what's wrong with him and why he isn't dead, but his father simply grabs him and tells him that they need to go home. Back at home, James talks with his wife about Jimmy. She expresses how much she loves him, but when James suggests that it's time to tell Jimmy the truth about who he really is, she just hugs him and disagrees. Meanwhile, we see Jimmy lying on the roof, gazing at the stars. When he wakes up, he notices a woman standing in his backyard.
I'm Kitty. Kitty Pryde.
The woman asks Jimmy to come with her to a private location where they can talk. Jimmy agrees, but we then see his mother watching nervously through the window. They head to a boathouse, and without wasting any time, Kitty hands Jimmy a box and tells him that
It belonged to your father. Your real father.
Jimmy opens the box and finds a bunch of items that belong to Logan. He also finds some sort of device, and when he presses the button, he sees a hologram of Wolverine. Wolverine tells him that if he is seeing this message, it probably means that he is dead, and then admits to being his real father. He also tells him not to worry about his real mom, as all of that is in the past, and they need to focus on the future. He expresses love for the family who cared for him, and says that he never regretted having him as a son.
If you inherited any of what he had, you'll be able to heal from like any wound. You'll be strong enough and maybe stupid enough to take on the Hulk.
Jimmy then tries to pop his claws, and after struggling for a bit, Jimmy experiences a rush of pain that quickly disappears. When he looks at his claws, he realizes they are made of bone, not adamantium. Kitty explains that the government crafted Wolverine's adamantium claws, but then...
Could he do this?
What? No.
his claws coat themselves in organic steel.
I'm Wolverine's son.
Jimmy starts asking Kitty questions about his real father, but that's when the family that looked after him his whole life comes in. The mother gets angry, telling Kitty that she had no right to do this, but Kitty explains that she loved Wolverine and that he asked her to do this before his death. The mother understands and asks Kitty what will happen next.
The law regarding mutants says I have to turn you into the government or shoot you on sight. And you know how your mother doesn't like it when I discharge my weapon in the house. That's a joke, son.
Why didn't you tell me?
I wanted to. The truth is I didn't want to tell my boy. I loved Jimmy so much that I couldn't stand losing him. I guess this means we're not sailing our boat around the world. I should have known better. You can't hide who you are or what you are if you love someone, particularly your children, and whether I liked it or not. Jimmy Hudson is his father's son.
After this, Jimmy decided to begin his superhero career by helping Kitty Pryde with her mission to find mutants and reform the X-Men. First, he located Jean Grey.
Whoa! Be careful! careful with those!
Who the hell are you?
I'm Jimmy Hudson. You knew my dad. He was Wolverine.
Then he managed to track down Derek Morgan, also known as the Guardian. But after completing the mission, Jimmy decided to stop by a shop to buy a beer. However, the cashier asked for his ID, and since Jimmy was too young to purchase alcohol, he left. At that moment, a mysterious figure offered to buy it for him.
Could ya?
But when Jimmy offered money in return, the figure simply told him,
I don't want your money, boy. I want your life!
and it's saber-toothed. He began tearing into him, swing after swing, punch after punch, making it clear that Jimmy was simply too weak to stand up to him.
You're nowhere near as good as he was on his worst day. Say hello to your dad in.
But that's when Jean Grey rescues him. Jimmy sustained such severe injuries that even his accelerated healing factor couldn't keep up. So after realizing the dangers of being a mutant, he decided to embark on what could be the most important mission of his life. You see, Jimmy was re-watching the hologram of his father when his friend known as Black Box noticed something. A hidden message in the hologram that might help Jimmy uncover more information about his past. So he and Black Box set out on a journey, gradually uncovering more and more information about Logan and his mother. And that's when we find out that Jimmy's mother was a freelance secret agent named Magda Lensher, better known as the Witch. Magda and Logan had known each other for years, and eventually they spent the night together. However, after that night, she left him. Years later, Magda began dating Magneto and had 2 children with him, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. This made Quicksilver and Jimmy Hudson half-brothers. So when Jimmy and Quicksilver met, Jimmy was understandably surprised. Quicksilver explained that after Magda slept with Logan, she became pregnant. However, unaware that she was carrying Jimmy, she began experimenting with a drug called Mothervine. This drug, when injected into a healthy mother, would result in the birth of a mutant child rather than a regular human baby. So while Logan was working with S.H.I.E.L.D. to learn more about the drug, he managed to track her down and found her with their baby in her arms.
Congratulations. It's a boy. That's right. It's ours.
Since the baby had Mothervine in his veins, Logan and Magda realized he would be at risk if S.H.I.E.L.D. or anyone else discovered this. Magda then asked Logan to record a message for their son to be given to him when he grew older.
I can make sure they follow me. Give them a trail of blood while...
Logan stabs her so that his team would follow her instead of him while he hides the baby.
Keep him safe, Logan.
She also instructs him to give the baby to someone he trusts. And that's when we see him giving it to James and Heather Hudson's, Logan's friends who always wanted a baby but had trouble procreating. Later in the story, Quicksilver and Jimmy end up in a fight until...
Sorry about the drastic measures. I hope you understand, I just hate watching my children fight.
Their mother intervenes. She tells Jimmy that she's not worried about him since his healing factor will take care of the wounds. She then takes Quicksilver to the hospital and leaves, disappearing and never being seen again. After returning home from their mission, Black Box starts asking Jimmy about his biological mother and father. But that's when Jimmy simply replies that,
My mother lives in a trailer park in Florida. My father, too. They were there for me. They raised me. I don't think they knew what was coming for me, but they helped me get ready for it. They made me who I am.
And who are you?
I'm Wolverine.